people don't like me taking pictures of their homes, and many people in my area, most people in my area carry guns.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
All right, folks, it happened again this week, and I am sick and tired of it. I'm sure you are as well. Before I get into it, first, I want to pause and remind you that we're sponsored by a couple of great companies. Of course, we're sponsored by the great TrueTrax software that can help you to, modernize with the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac new modernization. Check it out by going to truefootage.tech and clicking on the technology tab. And of course, we are sponsored by Working RE magazine. Working RE is the one that I go to find out information about what's going on in the world. In fact, the thing that we are talking about today, they have talked about several times. If you want to be in the know, get on workingre.com, folks. Oh, by the way, stay tuned. At the end of this podcast, I'm going to share with you something that you do not want to miss. Trust me. I'm not just trying to tease. Well, I am kind of. You're not going to want to miss this. Stay tuned. We got a great announcement coming up at the end of the program today. All right, folks, it happened again. I'm just going to read to you the letter. This comes from a member of my all-star team. I'm going to call him John. That is not his real name. I don't want him attacked because I know many of you have lots of strong feelings about this, and I'm going to share some of my strong feelings about this today. Dear Dustin, just wanted to give you a quick heads up about something that happened while I was out grabbing comp photos today. I was in a neighborhood I've been in before. Nothing too sketchy. But I guess someone didn't like me taking pictures near their property. Is this starting to sound familiar, folks? At that point, I was parked briefly on the street and pointed my phone out the window at the house I needed when a guy came out of his garage and started yelling at me, asking me what I was doing. I thought about speeding off, but I decided to calmly explain that I was just taking photos for an appraisal. He was having none of it. He kept shouting about privacy and spying, and then, no joke, he pulled a gun from his waistband and told me to get the hell out of here. At that point, I didn't stick around to argue. I put my hands up, told him I was leaving, and I got out of there as fast as I could. No shots were fired, but my heart was pounding the whole way back to the office. I should mention I did call 911 on the way back to the office and ended up filing a police report. Not sure if this is something we need to report or just chalk up as another crazy day in the field, but I figured you should know. I know this is something you frequently talk about on the podcast, and I swear someone's going to get killed before this changes. By the way, I'm fine. Just a little shaken. Talk soon. Signed, John. Folks, this happens way too often. Okay. Now, it's happened to me several times. Now, I will say this. As far as I can remember, I've never, and I think I would remember, I've never had an actual gun pulled on me like John did. Okay. But I have been chased down several times. Sometimes on foot, by the way. I was not on foot, but sometimes they literally have run down the road. I can think of two instances where they ran down the road at me. And unlike John, folks, in that situation, I did not stop and explain to them what I was doing. Was that a mistake? I mean, criticize me in the comments below. I've got tough skin, right? I chose to not slow down. I saw them in my rearview mirror and I kept driving 2 times. Another time, folks, I was chased down in Wyoming, rural Wyoming, by the way, and I drove about 25 miles to the nearest police station. Some of you are saying, really? 25 miles to the nearest? Did I mention I was in rural Wyoming? I was in the middle of nowhere. I slowed down. I stuck my camera out the window. As is the case normally in Wyoming, I could not see the house. I saw a bunch of trees, but lots of no trespassing signs and cameras, by the way. Oh, well, take a comp photo, right? Took the comp photo, went down the lane. It was a snowy day. I had to turn around, come back. It was not a cul-de-sac, but it made no sense to keep going up the hill. I turned around to go back to where I needed to go and met a truck coming out of the driveway who started honking, flashing his lights. And I thought, yeah, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep driving. At first, I didn't think I was going very fast, but I think I probably sped up a little bit along the way. And I drove to the nearest town where I knew that there was a police station. I parked in the police station parking lot. And at that point, they drove past me on the street and I never heard from them again. Yes, I did walk into the police station to report what I had seen, gave them the address, and I have no idea what happened after that. Okay. Folks, again, I've never had a gun pulled on me, but I've talked to many appraisers who have. Okay. And I get messages like this not too infrequently. I know that everyone listening to my voice has had a similar experience, or at least you've heard of an appraiser who's had a similar experience. And why? All right. My question, folks, my friends, my listeners, why are we still dealing with this crap? I want to pause and remind you that we're sponsored by a couple of great companies. One of them, as I mentioned earlier, has approached this subject on several occasions. It is Working RE Magazine. What is Working RE Magazine? Folks, if you're not subscribed, it's free, by the way. They have both the print version and the digital version, and both versions give excellent, up-to-date, current information about the industry that we all work in, the profession that we call appraisal. WorkingRE.com is where you go, and you can sign up for their blog, and you can sign up if you're not getting it already. You should be. Right? If you're an active appraiser, you should be getting their print version 4 times a year. But if you're not, let them know and they will make sure that you get on the list. It's a great, great magazine, both digital and print, workingre.com. All right, folks, I just got off an incredible demo. By the way, it's the 4th demo I've had of TrueTrax. And Paul Rowe walked through each step. If this morning, right? As of this recording, this morning with my All-Star team. Every month I have a monthly meeting with the coach where we share technology, where we share things that are going on in the industry and how to be more efficient, how to be more effective. And today we had Paul Rowe on who walked us through about an hour and a half demo. By the way, it does not take an hour and a half to use TrueTrax. He just walked through every bit and piece and how it was constructed and why it works. And it was absolutely mind-blowing. Folks, if you've not checked it out, you need to. TrueTrax, okay? You can find it at truefootage.tech. That's truefootage.tech. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. I shared in the beginning a letter that I received from one of my All-Star team members that is not unusual. We see this a lot, okay? Unfortunately. And I guess I have to ask the question, why? Now, I'm not going to, I've done it on this microphone before, so I'm not going to do it today, but I would question whether, or some people say, well, because Fannie Mae requires it. Okay, again, I'm not going to get into it today, but I would encourage you to go back to the 1004 form and ask yourself, does Fannie Mae require current comp photos taken by the appraiser? And I know some of you are going, what are you talking about, Dustin? Of course they do. I've seen it 1,000. Read the form and answer the question. Again, that's all I'm going to say, okay? But let's, just for hypothetical, just for question's sake, right? Let's play the devil's advocate today. And let's say that hypothetically it does say that you have to take current comp photos for each of the sales and listings that you use in your report, if you're using a 1004, okay? Now, whether Fannie Mae does and Freddie Mac does or not is kind of beside the point, because many of you work for clients that do require current comp photos. So let's just address that. Forget the devil's advocate thing for just a second, because real life is many of your clients require you to take photos, current comp photos, whatever that is. And if you turn in one that is your subject's on a beautiful spring day with green grass and flowers popping up, and you throw in a comp photo that you took 3 months earlier when there was 3 inches of snow on the ground, most clients will come back and say, no, 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 we want current photos. And we know you were out there 3 months ago, right after the sale, but we want you to go back out there and retake that photo because somehow that's going to be a better photo than the one with do you think I feel passionately about this, folks? I think you all know where I stand on comp photos. And I guess the question I have for you today, folks, is why are we still doing this? And I will tell you why. And it comes down to one word, and that word is trust. We appraisers are not trusted to do our job properly. Our clients do not trust that what we do and what we say are the same things. Now, I know what some of you are saying. And you're saying, well, it's par for the course because there's a bunch of crappy appraisers out there who lie. And I get that. And it sucks. And honestly, it may be true. But giving us more rules that are frankly unsafe for our well-being, folks, is not the solution, in my opinion. If an assignment warrants driving the comps, so be it. That, my friends, should be the appraiser's call, not the client's call. If the appraiser feels like it's not safe or warranted to take a comp photo, that, my friends, should be their call. The problem is we have very little say over the scope of work, which is the exact opposite of what USPAP outlines. You remember this, right? In fact, I talked to Tim Anderson recently about this, and I said, who's really in charge of the scope of work? And he said, well, it's supposed to be the appraiser, but we all know it's not. Okay? And that's a sad commentary by somebody who knows appraisers inside and out, who reviews appraisal reports, who helps advocate for appraisers before the state boards and in lawsuits. That's a sad commentary because he understands it. He gets it. So again, folks, the problem is we have very little say over the scope of work. And again, there is a time and a place. I want to state this emphatically. So for you haters that are going to get on there and say, well, Dustin, you're just a lazy appraiser. You just don't want to get out there. Folks, really think through this for just a second. How many times have you gained insightful information when you drove out to take comps? Okay, I will emphatically say to you haters, you are right. Did you hear that? Okay. My wife just recorded that so she could play it back over and over and over again. You are right. I'll say it again. You are right. There is a time and a place for driving comps. However, most of the time, I find it to be a complete and utter waste of time. Folks, I already know these neighborhoods. Well, Dustin, how do you know that it doesn't back up to a Walmart or that it has a water tower in the backyard? Because I know the freaking neighborhoods that I've been appraising almost 30 years now. I'm sorry, I just know them. Well, you might find something when you get out there. Yeah, I might. You're right. And in those cases are like 0.0002% of the time. And that's why we don't put one comp in, we put multiple comps in. Folks, probably 50% of the time in the area that I work, I can't see the house from the damn road anyway. I gave you the example earlier of the guy that chased me down in the truck, right? It was, yeah. I couldn't even see the house. I drove past and took a picture of his security camera and got chased down for that. All right. That is, I'm not joking, folks. Well, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but 40% of the time, I can't see the house better than I could see it in an MLS photo anyway. Folks, I'm just going to speak brass tacks here for just a second. Okay. And just lay it out on the line because this is true. I live in a conservative state. I live in a red state with a lot of guns. Okay. Again, I'm not saying here nor there. And luckily, I've never had one pulled on me. Okay. But people in my neck of the woods do not like me taking pictures of their homes. I don't care if it's legal. I don't care if it's needed from the AMC. I don't care if the client wants it. People don't like me taking pictures of their homes, and many people in my area, most people in my area carry guns. I don't think that's a very good combination. And folks, I'm sorry, but what is it going to take before the GSEs and others of our clients wake up? I didn't even get into the technology side of things and how we can see so much more with satellite imagery. And there's a photo of freaking every house out there with Zillow and Trulia and Redfin and our MLSs and the county. There's so many ways that we can pull up data and information. Do we really need to drive the neighborhood to get the information? And again, if we do, then that should be our call. If we in the scope of work say, you know what, I'm not sure about this neighborhood. I'm not sure about these comps. I'm not sure what's really going on here. I feel like I need to get in my car and drive those comps. That should be our call. And for our own safety, folks, this is what I'm advocating. Even if the GSEs require that we drive past the comps, by the way, it doesn't say when. I'm just saying. Even if the GSEs require that we drive by the comps, do we really have to roll down our damn window and stick our phone out there and take a photo for all to see? There's a difference between slowing down and driving a neighborhood and sticking your fingers out the window with a camera in hand. And that's when appraisers get in trouble. So if you, GSEs, if you want to continue to quote unquote require us to drive past the comps, okay, but do we really have to take photos? It really comes down to trust. And I hope it does not take someone getting hurt or worse. I hope, my friends, that I don't have to come on here in the future and say, I told you so. Speaking of I told you so, I told you that if you stayed till the end of the program today, that I would give you an announcement that I am very, very excited for. Folks, I have teamed up with my good friend, Mr. Blaine Feyen, the Real Value Podcast man, to bring to you, folks, the first ever and annual, and I do say ever, the Elevate Appraiser Retreat. This is not another stuffy appraiser conference, but this is the first and only appraisal business owner retreat. I'm going to repeat. There has never been an appraisal retreat before. This is not a conference. This is not a class. This is, heaven forbid, not CE. Okay, if you want those things, you can find them in Vegas and other places. Okay, and there's a place for those. I enjoy going to those myself. I'll be at one or two of them this year. Okay, that is not this. May 5th, 6th, and 7th this year, 2025, in beautiful Coors Gold, California, just outside Yosemite National Park, at a beautiful 360-degree view ranch on acreage overlooking the valley, overlooking Yosemite National Park, with a pool and a yoga mat and hiking trails and wonderful food and incredible people. If you folks want to take your business, not just your business, but your life to the next level, okay, this is it. This is only for certain people. And there's only 15 seats available. In fact, there's, as of this recording, 14 seats available. We just had our first sign up this morning. The Elevate Appraiser Retreat, TEAR for short, TEAR. And you can find out more by going to theappraisercoach.com and wait about 4 seconds. And then you'll see a little pop-up and you can click on our landing page and learn more. Hope to see some of you there. Thank you for joining me, folks. I really, really appreciate it. It's always a joy to be with you, and go create some value.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.